What's up, everybody? It's Draymond Green. Make sure you subscribe to the Volumes YouTube channel below so you don't miss any more of this great content going forward. Man, as we talked about before, that Celtics-Nets series is absolutely incredible. You got the Nets up 17 points, everything going their way. And let's talk about something else that happened last night with that game that most people don't know is really a thing, but it's a real thing. The emotions of someone receiving a big award before the game, it takes the emotions of a team everywhere. I've been a part of a couple Steph Curry moments that he gets the award, one for myself, and I would love to know what actual winning percentage the team has after a guy receives a big award. It is very hard. Like, when you're a part of these teams, you go through these seasons, and you grow so tight with guys, and you have to be tight in order to win. And when you see one of your brothers get a big-time award, like, you feel like you got that award. And then, boom, it's time to play a game. The emotions that you still have from that award, it's hard to flip to that game. But you know who flips right to the game? That team that's watching you get that award. And last night, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving took full advantage of that. I mean, the Nets, obviously. But they took full advantage of that to start that game. And then Boston found their legs. They found their feet. They got going. And then the game was back and forth. Celtics took the lead. Nets took it back. And then ultimately, the Celtics took the lead back. But, I mean, you have to give Boston a lot of credit on the way they defended Kyrie and KD, but in particular, KD. K just looked like he couldn't find the rhythm. Now, I was very shocked that they had him bringing the ball up so much because guys were just getting into him at half court, climbing into his dribble, and it looked to make him a little uncomfortable. Now, I wouldn't expect that if I'm Boston going into the next game. You know, you get one, but you ain't locking that guy down for an entire series. And they've done a very good job these first two games. I mean, you got guys flying at him left and right. Every time he shoots the ball, there's two guys contesting his shot. One coming from the review, a guy in front. You got guys on the side of him contesting his shot. I mean, the defense Boston is playing is absolutely incredible. I expect Brooklyn to put KD in more pin downs to where he's catching the ball like at the free throw line, at the elbow area, because good luck stopping him with those. So I was a little shocked by how much he handled the ball. I thought one good sign for Brooklyn was Bruce Brown, Goran, and those guys playing as well as they played on the road, because role players typically don't play great on the road. Now, Dragic has been here. You know, that's by all, like, we know Dragic's track record. We know he shows up in big games. But for Bruce Brown to go have the games that he had was absolutely incredible. And now he's going home. I don't know if people aren't expecting it, but you should be expecting him to have a huge game going back home. And so, you know, if he can continue to play that way, you get some of the other guys going. Steph Curry, you know, he's playing through injury and going through all of those things. Ben Simmons is expected to return in Game 4. I'm not sure how I feel about that. To miss the entire season of basketball and then going to Game 4, which could possibly be a closeout game, could be a possible tie, game to tie it up. I'm not sure how I feel about that. And I know he's getting pressure from that way, and that way. But the reality is, to not play in a game, and the Nuggets have been talking about this with Jamal Murray, and I'm just like, to not play in a game all year and then go right into a playoff game, I worry about that. I mean, just keep up with that intensity, like, I worry about that. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll pull it back. Hopefully they will pull it back. But I don't quite love that one. And, you know, you bring a guy back after missing the entire season. Like, are you expecting him to be the savior? Like, I don't honestly think Brooklyn needs saves. I mean, they had Game 1 and was up 17 in Game 2. Now, you got to close the games out and stuff, but I'm a little worried about Ben Simmons coming back. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I worry about that one. But with all the pressure that's coming from every angle, I doubt that they'll pull back on it. But that's something to watch. And these guys have never played with him. It's not even like he's returning to the same team that kind of knows. I don't know, man. We'll see. But I was a little shocked by that one. So we'll see. But I would definitely be tuned into that game 3 because that series is amazing. You got great scorers on both sides. Boston Celtics defense is absolutely incredible. Ime Udoka's doing a great job. Marcus Smart is being a true point guard. I mean, Jaylen Brown is taking better and better shots. JT took a couple questionable shots in that third quarter. I was actually about to text JT and say, hey, man, you playing a little soft right now, JT. But just like any great player does, he had a little moment where, he had a couple turnovers. Then he had that sidestep on the left wing, like tough one after he just had bobbled the ball when they threw the pass over the top. He bobbled it and missed. Like, he was having a rough stretch. And I was about to text him. I said, I'm going to hold off. And then he did what JT does down the stretch, put them away. Dragic was ready to contest that dribble. I'm bigger than you. I'm just bigger than you. I'm going to raise up. And he raised up, canned them boys, sent them back to Brooklyn. But now they got to go into Brooklyn, and I think that's going to be tough. So I'm looking forward to how KD and Kyrie going to respond. I've played years with Kevin, played against Kyrie a bunch of years. You don't keep guys like that down. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they respond and how Brooklyn respond. But that series is far from over. So game 3 is going to be very exciting. And then Memphis and Minnesota. I don't even know what to say about that game. Minnesota built up 2 separate 22-plus point leads. 2 separate leads. Now, like, the lead didn't get cut to 16 and they took it back 20. The lead got cut to 5 and then they took it back to 26. Then they lost the lead. But how many times have you seen a team get up 22 points and 25 points at separate times and not score 100 points? That's interesting. That's very interesting. And there are some things to take away from that. One, that means Memphis went on some huge scoring droughts, as did Minnesota. But some huge scoring droughts. And 2, how do you get up that much and not even break 100? Twice you got up that much. That's mind-boggling to me. Now, I was watching this game in the locker room before our game, so I know exactly what was happening, and I was watching it. Karl Towns 3 for 4 from the field. I'm sorry, foul trouble or no foul trouble, Karl Towns can't go 3 for 4 from the field. And you actually still should have won the game. Karl Towns has to take more than 4 shots. And I think this is maybe the second time in the last 4 games that he's taken 7 shots or less. That's your best player. That's your all-star. Karl Towns has to shoot the ball. If Minnesota's going to have a chance to even this series up headed back to Memphis, Karl Towns has to shoot 15-plus shots. Karl Towns has to take full advantage of his game. 3, block, whatever. Karl Towns has to shoot the ball more. If I'm Minnesota, if I'm Memphis, and Patrick Beverley wants to ISO Ja every play, you have to live with that. Patrick Beverley got it going early, and he finished with 14 points, and he was in attack the whole game, but he finished 5 for 13. If you're Memphis, that's exactly what you want. Because if Patrick Beverley is attacking Ja every play, that means D'Angelo's not shooting. That means Anthony Edwards is not shooting. That means Karl Towns, who was 3 for 4 from the field, is not shooting the basketball. So if I'm Minnesota, I'm not sure exactly what I want is what Patrick Beverley did. Now, we all know Pat Bev, and he a dog. He gonna get with it, and he gonna try to show guys up. That's what he do. But if I'm the Minnesota Timberwolves, as much as you love what Pat was bringing to the game, you got to get the ball to the guys that score the points, and that didn't happen. So, when Patrick Beverley, now you're Memphis, you don't want Ja getting in foul trouble, so that's tough. But if Patrick Beverley just wants to ISO Ja Morant, if I'm the opposing team, I'm living with that. You have to live with that because, again, that's taking the ball out of your best scorer's hands. So we'll see what that adjustment will be. Will Patrick Beverley be as aggressive as he was? I think the aggression is great, but I thought it got a little carried away because, again, Karl Towns was 3 for 4. So Anthony Edwards didn't shoot it as well as he's been shooting it. This game is – so if you're Minnesota, what are your takeaways from that game? We know we can build a lead. We know these guys aren't going away. What do we have to do in order to actually win these games? See, down the stretch, I know Karl Towns went in the rhythm, but the gravity that he pulls, I got to get him the ball on the post. They're not playing Steven Adams anymore. So now you should be going to the post. The advantage early in the series was on the wing. Now the advantage is in the post. They're not playing their biggest guy. So guess what? You go to the post, you take advantage of those guys in the post. What are they going to do? They're going to say, oh, he killed us in the post. We bring Steven Adams back. All right, then you mosey on back to the perimeter. You got to play the game within the game. So I was very shocked that Karl Towns is still catching the ball at the top of the key, man. He should be getting post touches, especially with them going with the smaller lineups. So I think that'll be one of Minnesota's adjustment. And look for Karl Towns to come out extremely aggressive to start that game 4. And if I'm Memphis, I'm probably throwing double teams at Karl Towns to start that game 4 because he's going to come out aggressive and you get him going. Then he starts getting kick out to those other guys. All of a sudden, it's not Patrick Beverley isoing Josh. Patrick Beverley getting open corner threes because there's so much help has to come. So we'll see, man. And then lastly, before we get out of here, the injury bug. We have been hit with the injury bug all year, so we know how it goes. But you got Khris Middleton, who will be reevaluated in 2 weeks. That's a huge blow for Milwaukee. Going into Chicago tied at 1-1, missing. See, Khris Middleton is Milwaukee's closer. Like, they don't go to Giannis down the stretch to get a bucket. They put Giannis and Khris Middleton in pick and rolls, and then Khris Middleton makes the play. So that's a huge loss. I expect Drew to be way more aggressive, have the ball a lot more, but, I mean, we'll see what happens with Chicago if they can keep taking advantage of, the way they did the other night. Vucevic was incredible. DeMar DeRozan. DeMar got it going. DeMar said, I won't shoot 5 for 26 again. He did not shoot 5 for 26 again. 40 had a 40 ball. Was with one of 3 players in Chicago. Well, the last 3 players for certain in Chicago to score a 40 ball in the playoffs was your Ernest, Michael Jordan, the man himself, MVP D Rose, and DeMar DeRozan. I mean, absolutely incredible game by DeMar. Said, you know what, I'm going to just get to my spot. I'm going to raise up. And he did that all night. And then to lose the lead, up 3, go straight at Giannis, take the contact with the finish. Got to give that man all the credit. He told y'all what he was going to do, and he went out there and did it. D-Book goes out with a hamstring injury. And I think the thing to watch with D-Book's hamstring injury is this isn't Book's first hamstring injury. This is maybe Book's 5th or 6th hamstring injury. And so that's not like, I sprained my ankle, which I did tonight, by the way. That's not like I sprained my ankle. Let's tape this up and let's give it a go. Hamstring, you got no explosion and you can't move. And so that's a big loss for Phoenix. That loss gives New Orleans the 2 best players on the court, which is hard to overcome. Now, no disrespect to CP. CP's 37. I don't personally think CP's going to give you all of that for 48 straight minutes. At this age, he can give it to you in stretches, but to carry the load for 48 straight minutes, game after game after game, that is a very tough thing to do. So we know CP's capable, but that's very, very, very hard to do. And you got to guard guys on the other end. It's not like CP can just go sit on somebody and take a break. He got to guard on the other end. And so New Orleans is in a great position, headed home up 1-1. I know nobody expected this, but that is the playoffs. Things happen, injuries happen. That is all a part of the game. That is all a part of winning championships or not. And it's unfortunate. You hate to see guys out, but, that's the hand that Phoenix was dealt. Now, they have great depth. They've used that depth all year. Again, you're removing the best player in the series, so that's tough, but we'll see if they can rely on that depth. We got Luka still out, missed game 3, but Dallas, Jalen Brunson is playing incredible. Jesus Christ, he's playing incredible. And all the other guys are playing well. They seem to be taking advantage of Rudy Gobert spacing the floor, and he collapses in. That's a very normal thing for a big man. You put him out in space, their natural instinct is going to be to retreat to the rim. That's what you've been taught your whole life. And they're taking full advantage of that. They're up 2-1 without their star. I don't think Luka comes back game 4. Why would you even bring him back game 4? You got a free swing. At worst, you bring him back game 5 if it's 2-2. If it's 3-1, you still bring him back in game 5 because you want to give yourself the best chance to close the series. That's if he's healthy. If there's any shot of a doubt, you just keep pushing it back. But you got to give those guys credit. The way that they're stepping up, J. Kidd is doing a great job. And Jared Dudley, this game plan that Dallas has going on has Jared Dudley's name written all over it. Does come up with some crazy schemes. And I think that game plan has his name written all over it. But give those guys credit. And then last team hit with the injury bug, young fella Scotty Barnes, the Toronto Raptors. Scotty Barnes is day-to-day with a foot injury. It's a big dude. He's a lot bigger than most people think, so foot injuries can be tricky. Down 3-0, do you rush him back on a foot injury? Probably going to get swept. I'm not sure I rush back my young fella to get swept anyway. So we'll see what happens with that, man. But I'm wishing all those guys good health. You never want to see anyone get hurt. And, this is what we do. And I always say, you don't lead the court and not live that injury. You live that every second of the day. So I wish those guys well and getting back healthy. And, we'll see what happens and how this affects these series, because injuries is a part of it, but it definitely affects outcomes.
Before we get out of here, did you see the Warriors stat that's going around, released by Warriors PR?
I have not seen the Warriors stat. What is that?
The Warriors have won at least one road game in each of their last 24 playoff series, an NBA record streak that began with the road victory in Denver, first round of the 2013 playoffs.
Hey, now, deja vu. You know what? Raymond Ritter told me right after the game. He said, man, you won a road game in every series. You guys right here. So, I mean, I always say, even if you got home court advantage, you don't want to be that team that's just trying to win home games. That's so much pressure. If you can go take one on the road, you go take one. Now, we did that. I'd like to get greedy and get 2 on the road. So that's the goal from here. Guys got to stick with it. I think we got to do a better job executing the game plan. We didn't do that today, and that starts with me. I was terrible executing game plan. So we got to do better. Road wins are hard to come by, but it was ugly, but we pulled it out. Got to come back Sunday looking to pull the brooms out. That's what it's all about. You got to get greedy. That's what we spoke to our guys about. Get greedy. Don't settle for one. I thought in watching that Minnesota-Memphis series last game before tonight in game 2, I thought Minnesota looked like, God, we going back home. We did our job. And then you lose one at home. You got to take advantage of those opportunities. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to come out in game 4 in this series, not give them any life, not give them any hope. But that's a wrap from this episode of the Draymond Green Show. I will talk to y'all hopefully after we close this series out on Sunday. Pop back next week. Until then, Draymond Green Show. It's a wrap. Peace.